Welcome to Dads and Daughters, episode 7 with Kelly, Jenna, and Gizzy. We have a special episode tonight, and we're celebrating Kelly's 18th birthday this weekend, right, Kelly?
Yes.
And we had a special cheerleading exhibition showcase last night. And tell us a little bit about it, Kelly and Jenna.
We showcased our individual sections of routines, and my friend Molly got to visit and participate.
And talk about Molly. Molly was in our second episode, and talk a little bit about
She's
Molly.
my flyer from last year, and though I'm at a different gym now, she still comes to visit me.
And Molly has Down syndrome, and she was on your special abilities dream team last year.
Yeah.
And Kelly, you are a base.
Yes.
I got the terminology right. And Jenna is a bat spotter. Is that the right terminology?
Yes.
Okay, I'm getting good here. And so that was great. We have a special. You've been getting Facebook greetings and messages all like last couple of days. We have a special birthday video that we want to share with you, Kelly. And I don't think you've seen this yet, but if we have it queued up, let's see it.
Hey there, Kelly. It is Johnny Damon and Sushi. We want to wish you a very special happy birthday.
Special friend of yours, Goose
Hey,
Gossage.
Kelly, Goose. Hey, I hope you have a good birthday and many more after that. Love you.
You rock and roll, we love you, all right? Have the best birthday.
Hey, Kelly, I'm here with Darryl Strawberry.
Kelly, what's up? Happy birthday. I hope you have a great one and many more, all right? Have some fun. Happy birthday.
Hey, Kelly, I'm here with Dolph Ziggler here. He's got something to say.
What's up, Kelly? I know a bunch of people are probably doing this because everyone thinks you're great, but happy birthday, Kelly!
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Kelly. Happy birthday to you. Yes.
With Bret Michaels, right? Absolutely rocking. And you're awesome.
Happy birthday, Kelly. It's Dan Grimaldi. I played Patsy Parisi and Philly Parisi on The Sopranos. Here goes. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Kelly. Happy birthday to you and many more. You have a great day. Enjoy yourself. It's your birthday. Keep smiling. Dan Grimaldi, Patsy Parisi.
Really cool Sopranos, bada bing. There you go. So that's a pretty cool clip there. And last week we had our feature segment called A Little Something Extra Ice Cream with Hunter Norwood. And we had a special guest appearance from Yankee World Series legend Brian Doyle and his family, who are connected to that phenomenal ice cream shop. And I want to send out condolences and prayers to Hunter's granddad, Dwight Gary, passed away this morning, very sadly, from COVID-related illness and a heart attack. And just to mention, Dwight took 72 missionary trips around the world to schools and churches, and he loved sharing the gospel. He loved his wife, he loved his children, loved his grandchildren. So our hearts and thoughts and prayers go out to the Gary family. And Michelle, we love you, and Brian Doyle and family, and Kirk, Amy, everybody thinking about you. So want to introduce our special guest for today's show, and we were just backstage all catching up because in this COVID-19 pandemic world, I don't see anybody anymore. But it was great to catch up. Our two special guests today is one of them, needs no introduction. He's a comedy legend, 40 years, Bobby Collins, who's going to be on in a minute. And the other gentleman, and they both have stories similar to mine because they raised children with special needs. Dwayne Ballin, award-winning CBS sports anchor, been in the business for about 4 years as well. Although both those guys look so young, it's incredible. I'm saying 40 years. These guys look like they're under 40 years old. But both these guys have incredible stories. So I want to cue up the first clip of Bobby Collins for anybody who doesn't know Bobby's talented comedian skits here. So here we go. Here you go, Bobby.
Our next guest is a very, very funny comedian. You can see him perform this weekend, January 18th and 19th at McCurdy's Comedy Theater in Sarasota, Florida. Please give it up for my friend, Bobby Collins.
How are you? It's so good to be back home in New York City, my home. I was just in Los Angeles, a little different, nice people, but you know New Yorkers live quick, die quick, talk quick. I lost my keys, I can't find my car, give me a gun. Los Angeles, do-de-do-de-do.
McCurdy's Comedy Theater in Sarasota, Florida. Check him out on BobbyCollins.com. We'll be right back, everybody.
There's Bobby. So let me just do a little intro on my buddy Bobby, who I've known for a number of years here. Bobby, born in Queens, New York. I'm from Brooklyn, but it's all Queens as well, coming out to you. Lives in both New York City and Santa Monica, so he goes back and forth, East Coast, West Coast. Started his career at Catch a Rising Star. Everyone knows that famous comedy club. 40 years in the comedy business, so he looks like he's 35.
Yeah.
Or yeah, we'll just say that. That's all good. Go with it. So performed with like Jay Leno, Bill Burr, Chris Rock, Paul Reiser, Seinfeld, Ray Romano. I mean, everybody. Opened for Frank Sinatra, Cher, Julio Iglesias, and Dolly Parton, who just solved the whole pandemic with the vaccine. Go Dolly. Right. So also hosted VH1 stand-up show and also starred with film I Am Comic, and he's won Cable Ace award-winning stuff and American Comedy Award stand-up comedian of the year in '97. We met at a Pink Tie fundraiser, I think it was, back like a number of years ago. We were in a limousine traveling out there. I got his whole comedy shtick in about that 2-hour rush hour traffic out there. So Bobby, now that you're on, I want to introduce Dwayne Allen to the show as well. Dwayne is an award-winning CBS sports anchor, 40 years in the business, Golf Channel host, Ryder Cup, Fox Sports Net. But where we met was at a UNC autism conference for dads last year. And Dwayne's got an incredible story. So we can cue the clip of Dwayne talking about the conference. That'd be great as well.
Is #1 in the world and among public institutions in autism research. So what we did was we designed a conference for fathers because fathers tend to fade into the shadows, disengage, don't do a lot of heavy lifting when it comes to parenting and autism. So we wanted to find a way to bring them out of it and connect them and make them feel comfortable and not judged. So we started this conference, and it was a big success. We're working in tandem with, I said, the Autism Research Center at UNC, headed by Dr. Joseph Piven, who is one of the world leaders in this particular space. And the idea was to bring people together, bring fathers together, and talk, and feel engaged, and walk away feeling that you're part of a community and you had a place to go for answers. So it's the UNC Autism Research Center. You can Google UNC, the Autism Research Center. You can contact either that or the Carolina Institute for Developmental Disabilities or the TEACH program at UNC. Any of the programs that deal with autism, you can contact them, and they all feed up to the UNT Autism Center, and they're there to answer questions, to provide support, and to provide guidance. That's the key, for everyone to feel like there's a place for you to go when you feel like you don't have any answers. And that's the whole idea behind it. So we encourage everyone, please, to reach out.
That's great. It is, Dwayne. So I figured do something different this week, have everybody on at the same time, because the theme is really the same. Dads raising special need kids. Bobby, your daughter, Madison's 26 now. Talk a little bit about Madison and what you've done. You've done this Comics for a Cause fundraiser for an incredible charity, Zeno Mountain Farm. So I want to hear a little bit about her story for the viewers. Let you go first.
You know, she was born with the ring chromosome of an unknown origin. That to me didn't mean anything, you know, even after taking chemistry. What we found out was it's very similar to Down syndrome. She's very low functioning. She doesn't talk. She doesn't walk very well. But when God gives you an angel with a clipped wing, it's pretty much an honor. I always thought I had a big heart growing up there in Queens and still having a home in New York and out here in the white privilege world, right, Range Rover world of Santa Monica. But until I had my daughter Madison, God opened the walls of my heart and threw them wide open. And if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be the same person that I am today. So I am blessed, and I am so thankful for that.
That's great. And Dwayne, you wrote a book in 2013 about your son Julian called Journey with Julian. Incredible book. I reread it this week again, and it's incredible. Just a blog that you started about 10 years ago, just talking about your experiences, which I thought of doing myself, because I tell you what, with Kelly, just from the very beginning, just a lot of the things I was going through, the, kind of the grief at first, what I call denial, and acceptance, and then became advocacy all in 1 year, basically, because I'm getting from New York. I just said, nothing's going to push me down. I get resilience, and I'm going to advocate. And I know you guys have done both of that for your children as well. So I think being an advocate, means you got to be connected, educated, I think, and also reading everything you can on what autism was. It was a whole new term for me. I knew about children with autism, but didn't think I'd ever be a parent of one. And I really had to kind of go into that kind of gear. So talk a little bit, guys, I'll let you start, Bobby, about what really transformed for you in terms of being an advocate and really this fundraiser that you put together. You have all the comedians. Jay Leno, I know, has been part of this. Every great comedian over the years has been part of this Comics for a Cause, and raising money for this special charity, Zeno Mountain Farm, and it's a camp funded for kids with or without disabilities. They do ski trips, theater. I just want to hear about your connection to this specific charity, Bobby, which really drove, and also some of your advocacy for your daughter as well. Incredible.
Well, when I was young, living in New York, my brother, who lived out in Massachusetts on what is it called, Nantucket, and one day we were driving out there, that 5-hour ride. We get there, then we had to drive down to take a ferry over to Martha's Vineyard. And then I was like a young little skinny kid, like at around 8 years old. We got there. My brother doesn't say hi to me. He's a head of a camp called Camp Jabberwocky. He tells me, grab that guy over there and put him on your back, and Bobby, and give him a piggyback down the path toward the river. I was like scared stiff because the guy was shaking. He had cerebral palsy. I didn't want to break him. I was like, I've never did this before. My brother didn't say hi to me. I got him down there. He got one of the counselors, took him off my back. I was like, thank God. Fast forward about 35 years. My wife here in Santa Monica said to me, we have to special needs kids here in California. I said, no, I know the camp. She goes, where is it? I go, it's in Martha's Vineyard, which has been changed now to Vermont, called Zeno. And she said, we're going to travel with our daughter across I go, if you see the camp, it's that special. We get there. She really had doubts. We get there. As soon as we walked into the camp area, which is on top of a mountain, there was a man, an elderly man, sitting on a porch. He looked over at me and he said, I know who you are. You're Bobby Collins, Tommy Collins' brother. You gave me a piggyback ride years ago. Tears started to come down from my eyes. I looked at my wife and I said, we're in the right place. And she's been going there for 17 years. And it's just wonderful and special. Everyone from Katie Couric to whoever donates stuff to help these kids. And they're not only kids, they're adults. And they take them skiing. They take them down to camps in Florida and for water. And it's just the most wonderful thing, and opens up your heart.
That's amazing. Well, you mentioned Katie Couric. I know, Dwayne, you did a special episode with Katie Couric, I think about 7-8 years ago when your book was coming out. And I know she's been a very big supporter of children with autism and other special needs. And I think that's incredible. Like, there's so many commonalities here. And that's what I think is so amazing, regardless of chromosome disorder versus autism. And anybody who's a dad who has a special needs or a challenged kid with developmental disability, it's a very tough thing for parents to accept in the very beginning. I know, again, when I was going through it, I try to find every single mechanism out there. UNC has their Teach program. I took her to Duke. I took her to social skills groups, which you liked actually a lot, Kelly, right? The social skills, that was okay.
Like one of them.
But there was this other thing we called like brain balance. It was some weird thing where they wrapped her in tinfoil. They gave her like a sock over her head. What was that, Kelly? We don't know what was going on there. It was like $10,000 and wear some tinfoil and testing her. And I don't know what that was. But as a parent, you will do anything you can to find any resource that's going to help. And in the beginning, I was like, well, I'm just going to go to this place and they'll put the tinfoil around her. They'll just zap her and give her some kind of special. And all of a sudden I said, no, I better just get her some other support. And thankfully through UNC's done a wonderful job, Dwayne. And I know your wife works at UNC as well, correct? I think that was how you got involved in that network. And talk a little bit about that.
Well, first of all, let me say to Kelly, happy birthday, Kelly. I'm not
Thank
going. I
you.
can't sing like Andy Grammer, so I'm not going to try it. But happy birthday to you. I know you've had a good time. That's wonderful about the cheerleading camp. That's awesome. And Bobby, you're a hilarious guy. I'm a kid. I grew up in South Carolina, and your Queens act is funny to me. So you're a very hilarious and talented man. So I'm glad to be on with you. You know, it's funny, Mike. You mentioned you were talking about, and I always have to be honest with people when I talk to them about my situation. My son's name is Julian, and when I talk about him and all that we do now, yes, I'm involved heavily in his world and autism, and we have the Fathers Conference, which we're very proud of, and I speak around the country a lot now. I give keynotes, and he and I are together a lot. I spend a lot of time with him, but I have to be honest and let people know it wasn't like that in the beginning. I was in absolutely complete denial when Julian was first diagnosed with autism. He was 4 years of age, and my wife jumped to it right away. She wanted to find out all she could. And frankly, I didn't want to hear it. I was traveling between Los Angeles and North Carolina. Our home base is here in North Carolina, and I was an anchor at the Fox Sports Network, covering the Final Four, doing all kinds of stuff like that. So I would only spend 2.5 days at home and then fly back to LA to do the show out of the studio. And for me, honestly, it didn't fit with my world. When they said that your son has autism, well, I heard those words, but they didn't process, because I just, whatever that means, it doesn't apply to me. So we're going to figure this out, and I'm going to straighten it out, whatever it is. I'm going to get it straight. I would come home, and at the time, Julian was barely verbal. He was barely verbal, Bobby. So I know what that feels like. He didn't really say much. And then when he did start to speak, it was that echolalia where he would repeat what you said, and he would have tantrums because he couldn't verbalize. And for me at first, it was like, this is untenable. It is unacceptable. I am going to take matters into my own hand, and you're going to stop acting like this. You're not going to embarrass me or your mother or our family. So obviously that was all wrong. That was completely wrong. I had a thick skull, and my wife kept telling me, she said, you know, this isn't. And one day I remember my wife, Julian had a tantrum, had a really bad tantrum, just like he fell out in the store, and we were somewhere, a lot of people around, and there, you know, and I got really upset. I was very unhappy with him. And my wife said to me that night, she said, you know, I'm going to tell you something that's going to surprise you. He isn't doing any of this to embarrass you. It's got actually nothing to do with you. It's just the way he is. And at that point, I thought about what she said, and it began to seep in. It's not about you. It's about the child. And when I began to accept that it was about my son, then I began to realize, well, let me get to where he is, access his world however I can, and get in there. And so after a period of time, I learned everything I could learn. I started doing a lot of stuff. I curtailed my traveling. Even without CBS Sports, I curtailed my traveling. There are certain things I said, you know, well, I'm just not going to do it. It may cost me in my career, but I want to be here with him, because I need to be here with him. And so what began as a very distant relationship with my son, because I didn't understand it, I didn't get it, has grown into, we are grafted together now. We're together all the time. He's my buddy. I view the world through his eyes, Disney animated movies, animals, and it's a joy. But I didn't get, again, I just want to stress to people watching and listening, I didn't get there right away. So if you're listening or watching and you think, well, you know, I'm not sure about all this, trust me, I've been there. You can get there. You just have to let the child help you access their world. And believe you me, it's going to be an interesting trip, but you will enjoy even the heartaches. It'll all mean something to you.
Well, I can relate to both of you guys, because both of you guys travel around the country, around the world, and I have that lifestyle. Anybody who knows me knows I'm everywhere, right, in a week. But this kid has always been, and both these kids have been my number one priority. And whether I've made every IEP meeting in 12 something years. I haven't missed one. I have a consecutive streak better than Cal Ripken when it comes to that. And I'll tell you what, I never have missed a meeting. Anytime the school has called me, I could be anywhere around the country, around the world. I've got calls in Ireland. I've got calls all over, but I'm always that first responder for her. And I think, you know, Kelly, hopefully it's helped Kelly get to a level of success where academically and socially, she's come a very, very long way. But in the beginning, it was challenging, and just really kind of adjust and make sure that my job had to adapt to my personal, and that's really what I had to do, is make sure my job, my day job, my career had to adapt to the priorities I had at home. Took a while to have the right balance, being in airports and living all week, like Monday to Friday, and sometimes 2 weeks at a time. Very difficult, but we've adjusted. And I think for all of us, and I know, Bobby, for you too, I mean, going back and forth doing comedy, that lifestyle, I mean, and your daughter, Madison, incredible. I mean, the pictures that we've seen, I mean, it's just the love that I see and through the fundraiser, it's just absolutely amazing. Shows that other side of you. People see you as a comedian, but really it's incredible that you've done all this to raise money for this great camp. And I think keep continuing what you're doing. But I think hopefully people see the real Bobby Collins that's not on stage, and seeing that side, because as a dad, you're incredible. And same thing, Dwayne. I mean, reading the book, I related so much to everything that was in the book, because I went through a lot of the same things. And I think as dads, we individualize everything and think it's just us that are going through it. And I get angry at times, and I lash out. I've had tough moments where I'm angry at the world, and thinking nobody else is going through the same things. And when I realized there's a network of people, that's why the conference was amazing to meet other dads, because I didn't think really other dads could relate to my experiences. And, you know, me years ago going through PTSD and other issues I had from 9/11 and other things, I thought the same thing. It's just me. Nobody else can relate to what I'm going through. And I found a whole network of people that do. And that forum, and hopefully these conferences continue and educate us. And hopefully we as dads can keep this kind of network alive. And so incredible stuff. And I know, Dwayne, your son with sketching and painting Disney characters. I see the fox behind you there.
Yeah, behind me, that's his fox right there. That's one of his pieces of art. He does animals. That's a fox, and he does Disney characters, and he can do it. And he started doing it at an early age. It was just some remarkable stuff. He was fidgeting one day in church. He couldn't have been any more than 4 years of age. And we were attending church with my wife's mother in her hometown. And Julian was just fidgeting. And her mother grabbed a piece of paper and a pen and shoved it in Julian's hand. And he just started scribbling. No, we didn't look at anything. And then we noticed after a few days, we noticed him scribbling. He could draw things. We have no idea where that came from, but he has this ability. Like, he can draw the entire Serengeti and all the attendant animals that are supposed to be there without looking at it. And it's just amazing what he can do. But, you know, that's something he can do. But I want to ask both of you something. It's something you can relate to. So all three of us, we travel and we speak and we talk to people and we encounter people. And as dad, have you ever come across, if you're somewhere, you could be in a market, you could be in an airport, you could be, you know, just on a walk, and you see someone in the distance and you see a child with them, and you know automatically the child has special needs. And have you tried to let that parent, that person know, say, hey, you know, we're in the same community, we're together. I mean, I've had that experience before and noticed, you know, how welcome it is, the simple ability to communicate that you understand what someone's going through.
Oh, I've had that in malls. I know Kelly, when she had her temper tantrums, we can call them. I don't know, meltdowns, shut down, as in Asperger's world, shut down. Yeah, she had that a number of times, and I get the looks from people like I'm this bad dad or whatever. So I had to do what I had to do at the time to get her, and I know how to get her under control really quickly. But you know, I had to do, and I had that look from people. So when I used to see other people sometimes struggle with their children at malls or outside, and I can tell right away if they were in that same mode. Whether I can tell the difference between an abusive parent versus a parent who's just trying to deal with their child. Right away. It's just an instinct you have when you go through it. So I'm sure, Bobby, you've had the same thing as well when people give you the look. And
you know how to look into people. That's why you're standing on a stage. You know who to talk to and who not. By the way, Kelly, happy birthday, sweetheart.
Thank you.
I love those birthday balloons. Look at that.
You know, I still get a kick out of, first of all, Dwayne, what you said earlier. You know, I never stopped because I'm always moving. But from what you talked about, your son at the first you didn't accept, and then you did, and you became a strong advocate. That was really moving for me. I started to like, and I'm not a Weller, but I was listening to you and I was like, oh, wow, I was like that. But I grew up in New York and we were brought up. My mom was a strong, tough lady, Italian, hairy. See, she would say to me things like, if anyone, we had a friend named Julius, and Julius was mentally, he was special needs. And she said to me and my brother, if anyone makes fun of Julius, you have a real good talk with him, meaning you, Bobby, you kick some butt. And me and my brother, when they used to call Julius, remember back then when we didn't know Down syndrome, mongoloid, somebody would call him retarded. Oh, that kid's retarded. So me and my brother would take care of him and make sure he apologized right to his face. So we were brought up like that to protect. What people don't understand, on the whole, 1 out of 4 people in the United States has special needs.
Right.
Look at your government. Look at our government. Look at our Republicans. No one's looking at Trump going, you look like an emoji. Get out now. You lost. We're not doing that. Things have changed. When we were kids, when we were even younger, not 4 or 5 years ago, LGBTQ. I don't know. I just wanted to know where to pee. You'd be walking down the street, you'd see women pushing carriages. You'd look in, big dogs. I'm going,
I've seen that.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then now you see what's happening with a pandemic, no leadership in our country, this and that. We're wearing masks. We're wearing hoods. I robbed a bank the other day. Okay, I said it. But we learned, when somebody still, once in a while, somebody comes over to me and they go, Bobby, I heard you have a special needs kid. And I look, I go, yes, I do. And they look and they go, I'm sorry. And I said, for what? I'm not. I'm blessed.
That's great.
What I've learned and what God did to me by giving that child to me, to open up my heart, to help other people, and to be kind and considerate and treat everyone equally. From even the lady that we're in a restaurant, my daughter used to take a fork and do this right around. And I'd see a lady looking at us. And she'd get up and come over to the table. And I'd look at her and I'd say to her, Miss, go back to your seat soon. Otherwise, I'm going to punch you in the heart.
I've been there.
Stop with that New York stuff.
I do that all the time. But
you know what I mean. We were brought up that way. And I see a kid in an airport and special needs, boy, girl. I go over to the girl. I go, oh, my God, your hair looks beautiful. You are so pretty. And the mother looks at me and thanks me. I go, don't thank me. Thank you. Look who you have with you. Because they need that. We need that.
Well, guys, this is great. I want to wrap up because I know we only got 30 seconds to go. But this was incredible. And Bobby, I know you're back on tour. You're still near your XM satellite radio. And hopefully you join Tracy Morgan, your fellow comedian, at my fight with Jerry Cooney for charity in June. Right. Hopefully you guys root me on. And Dwayne, hope to see you at the next UNC conference. Yes. And thanks for doing all you do. And I'll be obviously traveling around the country following you on this circuit because this is such an important topic. And next week, we have a great episode coming at you on physical and mental health for children. And I'm going to talk about how Mark Wahlberg got me involved in F45 and the story behind Mission Being Mindfulness and meditation for children. So thanks for joining us this week, guys. And thanks for being on the show. And we'll continue. And Gizzy's having a hard time here, as you can tell. But
happy birthday, Kelly.
Happy birthday, Kelly.
All right, guys. Thanks, everybody.
Nice to meet you, Dwayne. See you, Mike.
Take care, Bobby.
Right,
thanks, Mike.
Thanks. Okay.